Hey, welcome to another episode of the Not Scrum Dumb podcast. I'm Adriana Marshall, and that is.
Grand Scrum Master Scott.
All right, today we're going to talk about three ways you can be a more effective Scrum Master. And the first thing that comes to mind is the team actually being self managing. So it's on us as a Scrum Master to help our team develop and learn to be self managing. Scott, you want to add to this?
Yeah, I totally agree. To be self-managing, uh, we want to empower the team to take ownership of their work and make decisions. And one way I do that, Adriana and audience, is to I'm looking at sprint planning, for example. Are the developers creating their sprint backlog? Are they selecting their own work from the product backlog? That is a sign of self-managing. If I can see that, if I don't see it, then as a scrum master, I have some work to do in terms of trying to get it to that point. Anything else from you?
Yeah, I think they're also able to create their own goals. They have autonomy over the product backlog, which is most likely the product owner, but he's still a part of the Scrum team. So we should be working to coach them. The reason this one is really important to help your Scrum team become self managing, because to be an effective Scrum Master, we also need to coach the organization. So if your team is extremely needy, can't self organize, can't self manage, can't come up with goals, needs you to remove every small thing, which may not even really be an impediment. They just don't want to do it, right? An impediment is something that they can't resolve themselves. Then how are you going to coach management, to coach leaders? Then it becomes a cascading effect back down to the Scrum team, and it becomes more of a burden. That's also another reason I think this is a really important topic.
I'd add more to what you're saying, guide the team into understanding the agile principles and the scrum principles, the theory, the practices, the whole suite of things is all part of, a lot of things in scrum promote self-managing. For example, we talked about at sprint planning and then also the daily scrum. That event is for the developers. We want them to, own their work. Scrum is all about ownership. So if we give our Scrum team members, in their specific accountabilities, that ownership, then it allows for them to be more creative and flexible in terms of accomplishing the sprint goal, so that we can all get to the increment that we're trying to deliver for our customers.
Exactly. And so the second thing that we think can help you as a Scrum Master be more effective is teaching the Scrum team that failure is a learning opportunity. I've been in situations where the Scrum team wants a little bit of extra time to finish their increment to get to done. Oh, I just need a day, I need a two. We just need to extend the sprint. It's on us as Scrum Masters not to take away learning opportunities from the Scrum team, and making sure that we're framing it in that way where it's not a negative. We're not going into the sprint review to beat you down. We're going in there to maybe get help from our stakeholders, which I've been able to do in my experience. Was, all right, we didn't really get to done. How can maybe some of our stakeholders help us if we have these impediments that maybe we weren't able to solve during the sprint? Take it as a learning opportunity. Scott, do you have anything else?
Oh yeah, I mean, you said a lot of wonderful things. I would also, really just emphasize that failure is a natural part of the learning process. I'm thinking about Edison when he built the light bulb. It took him 999 experiments before he figured that out. So, just a reminder to everyone, we're working in a complex domain, which means there is more unknown than known about what we're trying to do. So, failure is inevitable. So I look at it for, hey, we want to fail fast so that we can learn how not to do something, so that we can get on the track to, okay, maybe this is the track. This way won't work. How about let's go over here to this way and try that and run an experiment? Because, like into the scientific method, we just have a hypothesis and we want to validate that hypothesis and see if it works and learn from that.
Yeah,
Very
that's a
nice.
great point. I think when you're talking about failure never stops, that basically goes into our third and final point, which is teach the team that learning and growing never stops. If failure is inevitable, we're going to have to constantly learn and grow and develop and get better. I think professional development, workshops, those are a part of it. So, one of the best books out there, or you can also find a video explanation on YouTube, is Daniel Pink Drive, where he talks about mastery being one of the parts of motivating people, beyond money. There's, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And mastery is really important for people. They want to be in an environment where they are constantly able to get better, as we see technology is changing faster than ever. And it's on us to continue to develop and get better. And we want our teams to do that as well. So in turn, our product and organization has either, growing in users or customers. And we're thinking about the long term and being around for the long term. So anything else to add to that, Scott?
Yes, teach the team that learning and growing never stops. I mean, even if you have the pleasure, the luxury to help your team become a high performing team, there will always be something they need to work on. Well, Scott, and your team, I'm thinking of that team that thinks they just all that. Oh, we don't have no problem. We don't have anything we need to improve upon. But it was at the sprint review yesterday. You did not get it done. Why didn't we get it done? Well, the organization. Well, now you have something else to focus on and improve about. It's okay. If your team is high performing, the question now becomes, how can we help the organization? How can we help other teams? How can we bridge that, responsibility gap and not, put blame on, well, this is in the organization is preventing us from delivering that piece of whatever feature we're trying to deliver. So there's always something to work on, even if you are a high performing team, that you won't deliver each and every sprint. Just use that opportunity to learn, grow. And I will also encourage the individual team members to, when I have my one-on-one conversation with them, I ask a question of, hey, what are you working on? What books are you reading? If you're a developer, what is the latest software that's out there that you're reading? And, really just foster that environment for continuous improvement and growing, because the skill set that we needed 6 months ago may be different. I'm thinking of something like Python, software like that, where it's always updating. So you always having to, be aware of things like that and see how the improvements can help you in a new environment.
All right. Thanks for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end and you have an attention span greater than a goldfish, you can find ways to connect with us via the links in the description. We have our LinkedIn in there, how you can join a class with us. You can email us with questions. Feel free to reach out anytime.